Hey, it's me, Matty D, A1 Solutions Group, and coming to you with I want to say, a real and raw video on my own story with money, credit, and really how perceived to have jacked it all up. Where had I just dealt with the inner issues I had going on, my outer world would have been a hell of a lot different. So who is this for, really? This is for anyone watching this, and particularly more so the men will be able to relate to this, not so much the women. But money is something. Money and credit are personal issues that affect everyone, and everyone who's not in not who doesn't have a who doesn't feel that they are where they want to be with their money or credit. You're gonna feel insecure about it. You're gonna feel judged, afraid. And how do I know this? Because I used to be that person for a long time in my life, from teenage years up until about 30, almost 30, 33, 34, something like that. Like, good God. I was insecure about who I was. I didn't like who I was. And I thought I was an utter, complete bullshit failure. But on the outside, if you talk to me, you'd be like, you seem very confident, you're trying to do stuff, a lot going on, you're very handsome, you could have any chick you wanted. Meanwhile, I go home by myself in my room, and I'm like, alright, if I'm such a handsome, wonderful man, we're all the women, why don't I have the one I want to be with? Two, I'm broke as fuck. I'm trying to do this whole entrepreneur thing. My credit sucks. I hate credit. I can't seem to make the money I want. I'm just a total absolute fucking failure. That's the thoughts, perceptions, and beneath it all, glued together, was the sadness, the feeling of how I viewed myself. I didn't take the time to write it all out, look at it, and go, where did I get all this bullshit from? Where did I decide to make all these conclusions about myself? Because here's the thing you don't realize. If you're watching this, if you want better credit, you want to have better money, better relationships, whatever it is, it starts with you, because it's all emanating from you. And here's the thing too. I knew that back then, but what I didn't understand and get was how the fuck specifically am I creating this hellhole? Because everyone says, oh, you're creating it. I'm like, okay, but I would not consciously be like, you know what, let's have a shit relationship, fucked up money, and bad credit. You wouldn't do it consciously. So if you're not doing it consciously, I realized what you're doing is subconsciously. That's the key, or one key there. It's one key, there's another key I'll get into. And so, without going into myself and going, what the hell am I doing? And asking the question to bring up the answers about how I viewed myself, the world, and all these conclusions, delusions, and other things are different. Like, for example, I remember the day I lost my first car. It was a used O2 Hyundai Elantra, and it was a time where I had a rough time. I just got fired for the second time in my life. No, I got fired for the first time in my life. That was a shock. I was like, what the hell? Student loans were hounding me. They were hounding me, marking me late, and everything else. At the time, I was in Maryland. I had no car insurance. My tag expired, so I was driving hot. Every time I get in the car, I would stress out. It was bad. And there, at times with my father, I remember having the car parked neighborhood, and then we had some stupid security that would go by. And that day, they decided to look at the tags to see if they were not expired, and they put this yellow ass sticker on my car saying like, "Hey, you have to move this in 40 hours, you're gonna be towed." And I was like, "Shit, what am I gonna do?" So there was a road, and a road on the outside development, a main road that I could park there, and every day I would stress the fuck out and look at it every day to see if I was gonna get another sticker for someone saying you can't park here, your tags are expired. Well, one day I'm coming back from a run, and I see my car. I'm running, and I'm looking, and I always check it like, is there a sticker? Is there a sticker? And I look to see, I'm like, is there a sticker? That can't be. That can't be. Well, to my should have been surprised, there's a sticker, and said this says that you have to move the car. And I was like, fuck, where am I gonna go? And I was pissed off. And then all of a sudden, right behind my car was an undercover cop car. The lights flipped on, and the officer got out, and he was like, "Why are you pissed off, man? You had expired tags." And I just went from pissed off to like, I'm sorry. And I explained to him my situation. I'm fired. I'm going through all this time. He's like, "Look, I gotta take the car, but I won't charge you towing fee and all that stuff. You can get it out." And if you get it out, you can put it in some place, in a friend's place that has a private driveway, you're fine. No one I knew at that time, and to this day, I had a private driveway, so I was screwed. So I basically ended up letting the car go and let it go, and I was carless for 10 years. But the story doesn't stop there. In those 10 years, I continued to, because one of my things, I always wanted to be the entrepreneur. I wanted to work for myself, do my own thing, be an ambitious guy, make the money, have the family, get the one I wanted. But on the inside, like I said, bro, I just felt terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible about who I was. It's like, and here's the thing. You cannot go out in the world and do this amazing shit when on the inside you feel terrible. Because one or two things will happen. One, it'll never happen, or you may have a little bit of success. Or two, you do get what you want, but then magically, some way, somehow, it always gets sabotaged and break down. You're right back to where you were. And the reason being is because you cannot act inconsistently with how you view yourself on the inside. If the outside you're like, hey, I'm this wonderful, amazing man, but the inside you're like, I'm a piece of shit and I suck, the inside's going to win 10 times out of 10, period. So the question is, how do you change your subconscious identity? And this is part of the series I'm going to get into, and I'll reveal that. One of the things I didn't deal with was how I felt about myself. And this is where a lot of men, particularly men, we end up taking ourselves out. Because we're like, I am not worthy, I feel like shit, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm fucked up, boom. That's really what it comes down to for us. Women is different. And in this time period, I kept doing the same thing, and I learned a little. I got some coaching help, which was the first step of my journey about dealing with your emotions by simply breathing and feeling them out. Won't get into that right now, but it's very important. It's the second key here, okay? And bringing up my fears anytime I felt like anxious or whatever. But in this time period, I was one point I was homeless. I was living from one friend's house to the next. Trying to do network marketing, all this stuff. And I didn't deal with the money side of like, let me just get a regular job, make a budget, and do this credit thing. I kept ignoring that because my focus was, this credit system's evil and stupid. Fuck this shit. I'm just going to be successful, make us money, pay it in cash, and do whatever. Which worked out really well for me. No, it didn't. And from there, things did not turn around for me until I look back now. It's kind of like something really I needed for me was the end of an engagement I had where really in love, prepared to be stepfather, and she wanted like a 6-month break, and I was in denial the entire time because they kept talking and hooking up stuff that this thing was over, and I was trying to like work with her and she was be there and all stuff, and so I kept denying that. And so I remember when this happened, the day of, it was right before 2018, New Year's Eve 2017. It was New Year's Eve, or right, it was either New Year's Eve or the day before New Year's Eve. I was like, for whatever reason, had to come to terms with the fact that, your engagement thing is over. You have to accept that and deal with it and deal with the sadness. I remember sitting there crying because I denied myself that for so long, and just sitting there going, I have to accept this. So that's what I did. I sat there, I cried, I started breathing through the sadness, and I was like, okay, let's breathe through this. And I got through that, and then I was like, wait a minute, something's off. I still feel sad. Not in relation to that, to the breakup, but about me. And I remember sitting there. I remember this period when I was unemployed and trying to work from home, and I felt sick. I didn't feel good about myself, and I was like, I was trying to do this whole in the black thing, like, how do I overcome that? What do I do? And I remember that day, sitting in the room back in Maryland, going, it's time to deal with how I feel about myself. And I sat there, became present, and breathed through this sadness, and it felt like my mind was perceiving it as some sickness or whatever, but it was sadness I had not dealt with for a long time. And it felt like forever, but I breathed through it, I kept breathing, and then, whew, I was like, holy shit, I felt like a whole new person. I'd regained my power. I won't get in that right now. But I remember like, oh shit, I'm okay. It's gonna be okay. And I was like, I can have fun again. I'm like, I'm gonna do shit. Like, I was like, yo, I'm ready to go out and just do shit and get and have fun and go into my fucking dreams. Like, I removed this invisible barrier that was in me the entire time that allowed me to finally move forward in going the direction of who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to experience. And trust me, when you remove that first one, some of you may be one, some of you may be a whole bunch, you're like, I got this. I got this shit. I can get shit done. And I remember, funny, I don't know why I'm sharing this too, in a relationship at the time, I was like, screw her. I'm gonna do me, and I'm just gonna ignore her, and I did. So anytime I felt like, oh my god, I'm thinking, I was like, whatever, think about her, deal with the emotion, and I did, and just 90 days didn't talk to her. It was kind of funny how that worked. But I remember feeling so much more confident about myself, and going out there, networking function, doing different things. And that's like the biggest thing I can share in this video. I won't take us too long. The credit piece comes in later. But the biggest thing I can share with this video from sharing like part one of the story is that you can work on the money problems you have. If you perceive you have money problems, you will. You can work on having the good credit. But the thing I'm sharing with you right now is that when you don't work on the internal issues, your money problems will return and your credit can go to shit, because there are people who get a credit fix and then they go right back to where they were because they didn't deal with the inner issues that was plaguing them. That's been plaguing them for the longest time. And had I just dealt with that shit when I was like, I don't know, man, 30? At least 30? Fuck. How about 29? My life would have been a hell of a lot different. Well, okay. It would have been different. Don't know by how much, it would have been different. And so it was that day that I realized, okay, these emotions play a part. Because if I'm feeling a certain way, and this goes beyond law of attraction, this emotion is creating hell in my life. Let me breathe and feel it out, so I can then create the life I want, set more of my power, and actually do shit. You know what I mean? So I'm just right here, and in the next video, talk more about my story and really process another key to it all. But I'm telling you right now, if you want the good credit, you want the money, anything else in your life, you gotta deal with what you got going on in here, because it's all emanating from you anyway. That's the truth. You want everything to stop being a hellhole? Pause, be present with yourself, and go and ask questions like, what's going on within me? I think don't ask that question. You gotta ask yourself, like, especially if you're feeling insecure about yourself, get a pen, pencil, notebook, sheet of paper, and write down these questions. Write down, how do I really perceive myself, and how do I truly feel about myself? You can write down both or either one. I suggest you both. If you really want to be free of your bullshit and have the life you want, write down both. Start breathing, become present, and keep writing everything that comes up, and do not stop. Do not stop. Keep going, keep going, keep going, and then when you're done, you'll know. You'll feel it. And you're going to look at everything, all the perceptions you've had of yourself, thoughts, conclusions, emotions. You're going to look at that shit and go, and by each one, I want you to write, where did I get that bullshit from? Because those are all conclusions that you made along the way up until now, and you got to ask yourself, where did I get this bullshit from? Because you'll be like, where the fuck did I conclude that I was this, I was that? Where? But also, another part of this, when you look at that list, as you're writing down, you're going to feel a certain type of way. You're going to feel most likely sadness. You might feel some fear, you might feel anger. You're going to feel sad. And that's another key. You want to sit there, be present with the sadness, and breathe and feel that sadness to completion. And you do that, ooh, man, all that bullshit you wrote down, dissolves. It dissolves, disappears. Get your power back. Because you put your power into bullshit things. Now you got it back. Explain the next story. But hope you enjoy this. Hope this helps. Let me know if you can relate. I'm here to help. I'm here to be more open with you guys. Talk to me, ask questions. And I'll see you on part 2. Deuces.